Well, first of all, I argue that consciousness cannot be reduced to physical processes. All you get from physical processes is structure and dynamics. And explaining structure and dynamics will explain many things, but it doesn't explain consciousness. To bring consciousness into the picture, you need something new and fundamental, either consciousness as a fundamental property or proto-consciousness. Then the question is where it fits into the universe. The most obvious thing to do at this point is to embrace dualism and say that consciousness is something fundamental, separate from the physical, that interacts with it. So then the first option, the most obvious option, is dualism, which takes consciousness as fundamental and separate from the physical. Two realms, the physical and the mental. But now we have to face the problem of interaction. Either the mental does no causal work, which is very counterintuitive, or the mental has to interfere somehow with physics, and we have to give up on potentially the causal closure of the physical. So those are some costs for dualism. Another cost is that it's somehow an unintegrated picture of the world. The other option is panpsychism and other related forms of neutral monism, which put consciousness at the basis of the physical world. Physics tells us about the structure, how everything relates to everything else, but consciousness is the intrinsic property that underlies the structure. And many people think there's reason to believe that under the structure of physics there must be some intrinsic properties, and it's a speculative hypothesis that it might be consciousness. And the simplest form of this is panpsychism, what I call resilient panpsychism, where consciousness is at the ground level of the physical world. Compared to dualism, this offers the advantage of a much more integrated picture of consciousness and its place in nature. The problem for panpsychism is to see how all these small bits of consciousness at the fundamental level will add up to the kind of complex, unified consciousness that I have and that you have, and so on. People call this the combination problem. If that problem can be solved, I think there's very good reason to be something like a panpsychist. If that problem can't be solved, then I think there's better reason to be a dualist. So recently I've been exploring both of these options in parallel, exploring the possibilities for panpsychism, but also exploring the possibilities for dualism. So I like to think my mind is divided down the middle. The right half goes with panpsychism, the left half goes with dualism, and we'll see who will win. No, I don't. I think it's a very hard problem. People have some interesting speculative ideas, but I'm not at all confident that it will be solved. The more I try to think about it, the harder it gets. We had a small workshop a year or two ago just on the combination problem. See, either we could solve it or to prove it can't be solved. We didn't quite do either, but the more I think about it, the more I realize just how difficult it is. I think we have some interesting ideas on the table, but I'm not expecting a definitive solution anytime soon. One thing that's very nice now compared to 20 years ago is there are a number of positive theories around for thinking about it, but nothing which has convinced terribly many people. So I think it's still quite early, and maybe it will be 100 years, maybe it'll be 200 years, but at least we're playing with some interesting ideas, and I think we have to try. I mean, we're not going to solve the problem without trying first, so I expect we'll make many mistakes before we finally find a solution. This is amazing. I keep saying, how could you come to Greenland and there are still some people who deny the existence of qualia? Just look, just experience.
It's just an illusion.
Tell me all this is an illusion.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.